Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to do a recommendation video for one of my favorite tropes, which is Grump Sunshine, of course. I think a lot of us like that trope. I like the opposites attract of that, and I like seeing both characters come together. Usually the Grump is grumpy for a reason, and I like dissecting that reason and seeing them open up more and coming out of their shell. And sometimes, not always, sometimes the sunshine also has some things in their past which makes them put on a sunshiny face, but really there's more going on. I have 7 recommendations where the man is the grump and the woman is the sunshine, and I have 3 recommendations where she is the grump and he's the sunshine. Yeah, all of them are, oh, okay, no. Well, yeah, technically, and I have one, I put that in the man section, that is a white choose, and I'll talk about that when I get to it. So let's start with Caught Up by Liz Sumford. First of all, this man on the cover is so attractive, like, wow. Anyway, so this is the 3rd book in the Windy City series, and you follow Kai and Miller. Kai has recently become a single dad because his little boy Max was dropped off by a woman he had slept with, and she really doesn't want this child. She can't take care of him. She tried for 6 months and she couldn't, so he has sole custody. He's also a baseball player. He doesn't trust any nanny really, and his coach gets sick of his shit because he constantly keeps firing nannies, and that affects his play. So since the coach's daughter, who's a pastry chef, but she has taken a 6-week sabbatical because she's not inspired anymore, she decided to spend that time with her dad, who's also Kai's baseball coach. So he asks Miller and forces for Miller to become Max's nanny, and Kai is not interested. They had not a good first impression, but eventually he relents because his coach is doing a lot for him so that he can still play and be a father. And he's very, very much a grump because he's like, his sole mission in life is just to take care of Max, and he thinks that means that he cannot have any fun. Whereas Miller, she is kind of a free spirit. She's not tied down anywhere. She's, I believe, a consultant. So she constantly switches jobs. Not switches jobs, like she constantly does projects. Basically, she works for different restaurants to spice up their pastry selection. So she is not really tied down, whereas he is because of his job and his son. It's their romance. He cannot really resist her. But they have this looming deadline coming up where she's leaving in 6 weeks, and he's trying to get her to stay, and it's a beautiful, beautiful romance. It's one of my favorite books I read last year, and definitely very good Grump Sunshine in my opinion. Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, another one that was one of my favorite books last year. So you follow Elsie and Jack, and Elsie is a theoretical physicist and he is an experimental physicist, but when they first meet, they don't know that about each other because since her job doesn't pay her enough, she also moonlights as a fake girlfriend for people. So apparently there's this app where guys can hire her to be their fake girlfriend. Usually it's just for one night and they don't have sex or anything. But she has a favorite client and she's been his fake girlfriend for a while now. But she thinks that his brother cannot stand her. And then when she applies for a new theoretical physics job, he's actually the person that is in charge of hiring her or not. And he's immediately suspicious because in order to be a fake girlfriend, like you have to have like this whole backstory. So you cannot actually tell them your real job, stuff like that, I guess, to protect your identity. So he thinks that she's a liar and an actress. So immediately they're on the wrong foot. Then she realizes that he is an infamous experimental physicist who wrote this scathing article that cost her mentor his job and his reputation. So she hates him, but he's very much a grump. She's very much a sunshine. And while working together, they realize they do have more in common. She also realizes that he doesn't really hate theoretical physics as in general. He just has things going on. And what I really love about this book is how it really feels like a real relationship. Like, yes, sometimes I really love reading like these billionaire romances or these fantasy romances or these BDSM romances to like try and get away from my own personal life. But this is just like a simple relationship where they hang out on the weekends, you know, you're giving me your weekends type of vibes. And I like that. I like how realistic this is. And I just really love this. My favorite Ali Hazelwood book. And I really like this Grump Sunshine. She tends to write Grump Sunshines a lot, by the way. The one where I was debating, it's because it involves multiple people. It's Pucking Around by Emily Rath. So this is a Why Choose romance. You follow Rachel, who... So there is a novella before this book where she met this guy and they had this amazing one-night stand, but they didn't exchange names or numbers. And then she gets hired because she is a sports medicine practitioner, so a doctor. She meets him again. This ends up being a Why Choose romance between her. Oh, this is a hockey romance, by the way. So the defenseman for the hockey team that she's now the doctor for, and that's the guy she met and had that one-night stand with. Also with the equipment manager and the goalie. And basically, yeah, so they're all her boyfriends and she's just living her best life. The Grump Sunshine, I'm mainly talking, so the most sunshiny character in this book is definitely Jake, who is the defenseman. And then I guess the goalie, what's his name? Mars and Caleb, both of them are kind of grumpy. So yeah, that's basically where the Grump Sunshine comes in. She can be both really, but it's mainly the guys, in my opinion, who are definitely the Grump Sunshine. And then Caleb and Jake, they also are in a relationship. So I guess they would be the Grump Sunshine in this dynamic. But yeah, this was so hot. Like some of these scenes still live in my mind rent free. Like, anyway, moving on. Next is A Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. So this was not my favorite, but I know it's a lot of people's favorite, so I'm just gonna mention it here. So I gave it 3 stars. Oh no, I actually gave it 4 stars. Okay, so I guess I would recommend it then. Well, I mean, I would recommend it anyway because it has a 4.3 average rating. So you follow city girl Kala, who visits her father in Alaska, and there she meets the pilot, and he is a grump. He's the grumpiest of all grumps. And she's a sunshine. She's kind of clueless too, since she's a city girl and now she has to navigate this small town. He has issues with her because she never really visited her father, although she does have her reasonings. Her and her father have they're kind of estranged. But of course, her and the pilot, Jonah, they get closer and it's their romance. Definitely Grump Sunshine and small town boy, city girl. And yeah, it has been years since I read this. When did I read it? Let me see. In 2020, so 4 years ago. So I don't remember a whole lot about it, but definitely Grump Sunshine. King of Wrath by Anna Huang. So this guy definitely has good cause to be grumpy. So you follow Dante and Vivian. And Dante is a billionaire, but he is getting blackmailed by Vivian's father. The blackmail is that Dante has to marry Vivian, so he has to go along with it. But in the background, he's scheming to take down her father. So they basically have to get engaged. So they are engaged for a year. They have to live together in that time. And then after a year, they actually have to get married. But he's not planning on ever marrying her. Like, he's planning on taking down her father before actually walking down the aisle. So he's very grumpy. And like I said, understandably so. But he's taking it out on Vivian, who has no idea that her father is blackmailing Dante. She has no idea about any of it. And she's just the dutiful daughter who is going along with it because she's always done what her parents wanted. Yeah, so they have to live together. And actually, just one scene that sticks out in my mind is he's like, okay, this is your bedroom. Your ring is on the bedside table. Wear it. It's like, wow, how romantic. So, of course, once they live, obviously they're living together, so he sees more of her, and she's charming his staff. She's very much sunshiny, and he's very, very, very grumpy. But, you know, they have these late night talks, late night snacks session where they get to know each other better, and he realizes that she's beautiful. Well, I mean, he knew she was beautiful, but I mean, he realizes that she's wonderful and that her father is the dick, not her. So it's obviously their romance. So this is the first book in the Kings of Sin series. So that's fun because you get to see their HEA play out in the other books. So I love that. And yeah, What I also love is the amount of Italian that's spoken here, because he speaks Italian to her. And sometimes it's not even translated. So you have to go and look up on like Google Translate what he actually said. So, you know, she makes us work for it, but I like that. Yes, that one. God of Pain by Rena Kent. So this is the second book in the Legacy of God series, and you follow Creighton and Annika, and he's grumpy. He is grumpy. He mainly doesn't like to speak, and he doesn't really like he likes the people he's known his entire life, and he's not really interested in meeting other people. Annika is just a ball of purple sunshine, basically. So she talks a lot, she doesn't shut up, and he doesn't really know what to do with her, because we have seen the first part of their story play out in the first book, where she saw him for the first time and she was immediately intrigued, and he just wanted nothing to do with her. And then in this book, she just keeps poking at him, and until at one point he snaps and fucks her, and now he cannot let her go. So a lot of the grumpy behavior we've seen in the first book, but also in this book, because he's not a ball of sunshine at all. And he had, once again, good reasonings. Something horrible happened in his past, and she has been like the mafia princess, kind of spoiled. So this is not my favorite in the series. Maybe on reread it will be, but like plot wise, especially the second half of this book, I just could not stop reading this book, because I just wanted to know what was gonna happen. So this book will have you flipping the pages once you get to a certain point in this book. So yes. And then the last book, where the man is the grump, is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. This also is a fake dating romance. So you follow Catalina and Aaron, and they are co-workers, and they cannot stand each other. Like, they hate each other. They're constantly bickering, arguing. And then her sister is actually getting married in Spain, and I believe, oh yeah, so her ex-fiance, her ex-fiance is gonna be there. So she cannot show up single. So Aaron overhears her, I think, complaining about it. So he offers to become her fake boyfriend. So they go to Spain, and of course, all the fake dating shenanigans ensue, where they only have one bed. They have to pretend to like each other in front of her family, even though they actually hate each other. He's very much grumpy, and she's very much sunshine. And of course, this is a pining hero. I tend to love those. And I believe this is told in first person. So it's even more interesting to, once she realizes his feelings for her. So yeah, this is actually the only book by Elena that I love. And I really want to reread it soon, because it also has been a while since I read this one. Moving on to the grumps that are the women. The first book is Wrapped Up in You, which is good that I'm recommending it now, because this is actually also a Christmas romance. So Wrapped Up in You is by Talia Hibbert, and you follow Abby and William, and they are childhood friends, but he became a world famous Hollywood actor. So they're both from the UK. So think the lines of Chris Evans. That's kind of how he's described. So he's always had a crush on her, but nothing ever happened. She didn't realize that at all. And her grandma is kind of matchmaking. She's grumpy, he's sunshine. And this is just a quick, fun holiday romance, but I do remember really liking it. So this is like, like I said, they grew up together. He sees her family as his family. So I also tend to like those stories where you spend some time in like a childhood home, either where you actually grew up or a home that you visited annually. I like those stories. And yeah, very good. Of course, one that I have to recommend is Reckless by Elsie Silver. Winter is the ultimate grump, and Theo is the ultimate sunshine. So you follow, so basically this has been set up a little bit in the third book, where Theo was driving behind Winter, and then they both get to Summer's house, Summer and Red. And then the main characters from Powerless see Winter just chewing out Theo. And then they actually, what nobody knows, is they end up having a one-night stand, and she ends up getting pregnant. And when she tries to reach out to him, he's very cold and not really interested. It's all through text. So she decides, well then, fuck you, I'm gonna raise this child and not gonna involve you, because you obviously don't want to get involved. But then, like, a year and a half later, when he realizes what happened, he really had no idea what was going on. And now he wants to do everything in his power to become the best father for his little girl and also to try and win Winter back. But of course, she's very grumpy, he's very sunshiny. I did really like this book, but I do have to say it's my least favorite in the series, even though I still gave it 4 stars, because I feel like we focused way too much on her and not enough on him, whereas it was clear that his sunshiny persona also had some childhood things behind it that we never really explored, and I like a balance. Like, I get it, Winter obviously had the more pressing issues that were going on right now still, and obviously issues that also revolve another beloved character, Summer. But I felt like I wanted to know more about Theo, and I also wanted him to be less sunshiny because his sunshine was also like a coping mechanism in a way. But having said all that, it is obviously a very good book. I love like them navigating being parents. Like, the Chestnut Spring series is a beloved series for a reason, and what I love about the Chestnut Spring series is that everybody seems to have a different favorite book. So yeah, it just depends on the kind of reader you are. And last but most certainly not least is a book that I own, but if I hold it up, you cannot see it. It's Married by Morning by Lisa Kleypas. So this is the 4th book in the Hathaway series. And once again, another romance that has been set up for a while, because this is the 4th book in the Hathaway series, and this couple has been set up since book 2. So I would definitely recommend reading the series in order if you want the full experience of Kat and Leo. Leo is the heir to the Hathaways, but especially in the first book, you've seen him going through a lot. Like, he has been a mess, honestly. The love of his life passed away years ago, and ever since then, he has not been the same. He's been drinking, gambling, doing all sorts of things. And then in the first book, his sister gets married to a wealthy guy, and he did some things that were almost unforgivable, so they sent him off to get his life together, to get clean, to, you know, to become like the actual head of the family. So he does that. Then he comes back, sort of changed, but because they became more wealthy, they hired a paid companion to get the youngest daughters out into the marriage mart, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with Leo. He's very flirtatious, and she's trying to keep him at a distance because of things that happened in her past. He's everything that she knows she'll never want in life. So they're constantly bickering, and he is used to people kind of fawning over him, especially women, and she's not doing that at all. So she's even more intriguing for him. So, you know, that hate turns to love. She's very much a grump. He's very much a sunshine, even though he obviously is not sunshiny all the time because, you know, he is hurting. But ever since he's back, he's trying to make it up to his sisters and his brother-in-law. So he's trying to, you know, pretend everything is fine and well and good and making jokes. He's a funny guy. And she really doesn't want to have anything to do with him. So yeah, I love this book. Very much a good Grump sunshine in my opinion. So yeah, those were all my recommendations. If you want more Grump Sunshine recommendations, I actually did this video earlier, like over a year ago. So I'll leave that video linked for you. Definitely check that video out if you want even more recommendations. None of the books I mentioned here, I mentioned there. So I believe I also did like 9 or 10 recommendations. So you're gonna find at least one book that you have not read before, hopefully. So yeah, since this is one of my favorite tropes, I would really love to know some of your favorite Grump Sunshine books. I don't really care who the Grump is or who the Sunshine is, just that this trope is there. So leave your recommendations in the comments below, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did, and thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.